This is going to be probably a keynote like you've not experienced before, not least of which because I'm going to ask you questions, and I know what you're thinking. Does she thrive off audience energy, or is she woefully underprepared? And the response is, you will frankly never know. Also, I'm known for speaking a lot. So if people are waving at me or dragging me off stage, don't panic. It's all going to plan. All right, wonderful. So, I looked at the title for this, right? And I don't know if my marketing team came up with this or with your help. Yeah, we've got a lot of shrugging the shoulders. I'm thinking that too. Just way too wordy, way too complicated. So having looked at this at about 9 p.m. last night, I thought, let's make it as simple as we possibly can here. So I wanted to start with how Code First Girls was a turning point. Has anybody heard of Code First Girls before? Like, put your hands up. Come on, it's going to get messy. This is good. So when nobody puts their hand up, I do seriously consider sacking my entire marketing team. Live demo, completely gone wrong. Who's willing to tell me what Code First Girls does? Who put their hand up? Come on, who's going to be brave? Yes, gent, chap in the front. And that is why I love audience participation in every way, shape, or form. Wonderful, thank you. Thank you for putting that back on me. It's not like I'm just doing the keynote and don't have enough to do already. Wonderful. All right, okay, we'll get to that. I promise we're going to get to that. I will get to that. So why was Code First Girls a turning point? So Code First Girls has actually been around since about 2011, okay? And from like 2011 to 2019, it was an educational campaign. I think it's safe to say now my co-founders, but back in the day, the founders, didn't really know what to do with it. They're very famous people, by the way, and I think they will own this, but they didn't really know what to do. So it was just sort of in the wilderness. But they had one aspiration, and that's just to teach as many women how to code as they possibly can, right? Fast forward to 2019, that's still the aspiration. At the same time, around about 2015, at the very wise old age of 29, lynda.com is being acquired by LinkedIn. I'm going into the LinkedIn offices and thinking, what the hell is going on? And by the way, if anyone wants to know the definition of imposter syndrome, it's when you see a whole army of men in Levi jeans, check shirts, who take long walks on California beaches with golden retrievers, and you're a woman in the room from London not even knowing what to wear. It's pretty scary. It's pretty scary. So I get to LinkedIn, and I'm thinking, LinkedIn have acquired our absolutely amazing platform that focuses on tech education. And I'm just so wrong, right? They didn't just acquire an educational platform. It was, at the time, like the sexiest, coolest, biggest edtech acquisition of its time. I think it still is to this day. But actually, what they were really interested in was the data behind the platform, right? So I don't know if you know this, but LinkedIn are plotting 6 points of data globally. And they call it the economic graph, which sounds a bit scary for me. And they've been doing this for a very, very long time. So when you log onto that platform, they are logging where you went to university, your job, your knowledge, your skills, various other things, right? And they're plotting these data points, and they are seeing how they interconnect. And they were blindsided on the data around the skills and knowledge that you would require to get the job that you wanted, or who should be promoted within your company, okay? And I don't think you're going to be surprised to hear this, but one thing that I noticed that when it came to technology, and particularly to technology roles, or when it came to coding, can anybody tell me what the algorithms kept producing around candidates? Oh, silence. Oh my God, yes. Who gave that answer? Like the cameraman, you get 1 billion points. Men. What type of men? Anybody? Straight? Who said straight? Very straight white men who didn't come out a lot and, were staying in their room till 3 a.m., hoodie up. No, I'm joking. I'm just really going into stereotypes now. But yeah, you get the gist. And the point was that they didn't actually have the data to begin with and the diversity of data. And they hadn't really, in my view, built the technology that enabled the algorithm to look at potential. So I thought, hang on a minute, there's just two things that are just missing in the market, right? How do we look for aptitude over a computer science degree? First thing. And number two, is anybody actually going to take on the absolute unthinkable, which is, who is going to dare to create a data set that's actually dedicated to women, potential talent getting into technology? Who's going to go there? And of course, I was a bit bored by this point, so I was like, I'll give that a go. So fast forward to 2019, and the founders of Code First Girls approach me, and they're like, Anna, we've got this thing, and we don't know what to do with it, and we feel like you're the right person to take this on. At the time, it's a non-for-profit, right? Because that's the only way any women's initiative can exist in the history of women's initiatives. And my friends say to me at the pub, do not do it, Anna. You will never fly business class again. And I say no. I just love a challenge, and I love pain and torture. So let's give it a go. And my dad works for American Airlines anyway, so I'm totally cool. So I was like, okay, right, let me give this a go. So I get in, and I'm, you know what you're like when you start your new job, and I'm like, oh God, I'm a CEO. This is amazing. I get in there. After about 3 to 4 months, I am literally ready to throw myself off a cliff. What I discover is, quite frankly, Code First Girls did not have a business model. It did not have a product. And at the time, the brand looked a little bit like Save the Children, which is what happens when you work for a non-for-profit. So I went back to the founders and I was like, these are all the problems. And they said to me, that's great. Thank you for identifying that. Now you go fix it. You've got a year of budget in the bank account. That equated at the time to about £100,000. I know what you're thinking, money bags. It's really hard to relaunch a company with 100 grand. It's almost practically impossible. So for a year, I take it on, finish the existing targets, right? Relaunch the company, and I'm thinking, kind of got to the end of the bank account. I'm a little bit worried now. I have no idea how this is going to fly. So I relaunch it with something I know and love, which from LinkedIn and my days at lynda.com is a B2B subscription model. Why do I love B2B subscription models? Because it's annual recurring revenue. Definitely more likely to get on a business class seat using that model. I also create a product, and my product is everything that I've learned thus far, which is education is a beautiful thing, but in my view, it does not equate to money unless it relates to employability. And the only way it's going to relate to employability is if you truly understand your data. And the only way you're going to understand your data is if you understand the women you actually want to attract through the program. But do you understand the employers as well? So I made it my mission to create a model in the back end of what we do where I would map out every single employer, not just in the UK, because that wasn't enough for me. I wanted to do it in several different countries simultaneously. I wanted to find out the skills gaps by region in technology over the next 5 years. And that's how I was going to pipeline my education. And I was going to target it to the type of women they wanted by community. So this was his grand plan. And everyone's like, it just can't be done. It just can't be done. No one was doing that. LinkedIn wasn't doing that. So we launched with a new model. And within the space of a year of launching, we had 10x our user base, 10x our revenue. It just went crazy. It went like absolute wildfire. And all of a sudden, we had organizations beating down our doors saying, we've never had a product like this before. How do we sign? Where do we sign up? Women getting involved left, right, and center. So for me, Code First Girls was a turning point because up until this point, like I said, all gender initiatives were non-for-profit. And I was told that gender would never, ever be commercially viable. And anybody to take it on was either incredibly stupid or incredibly naive. Code First Girls ended up being private equity backed. So I turned the model into a for-profit. I did it off the basis of all of the contracts that I had, and we raised an incredible amount of money. And I'm pleased to say the amount of money we raised, the lion's share of it came from women. Again, absolutely cray-cray. Why is that cray-cray? Can anyone tell me how many women in the UK actually hold investments? Oh, guys, we really need to get back on our figures. When it comes to angels, it's about 13% of investors are angels. About 1 in 5 holds any form of investment. I'm talking like ISAs and stuff, right? It's actually quite scary, let alone private investments around companies. So I was like, I know, really great idea. Let's go after this really small pool of investors. But we did that, and we got private equity backing. And then, as they say, you go to the races. All right. So that's why it was a turning point. I feel like I've done this slide. Oh, now she's going too quick. Amazing. And also the graphics aren't working, which is fantastic, but it's okay, everyone, because I'm a walking hashtag woman in technology, and we will get through this. All right, so in the amazing introduction, as mentioned, we've taught 150,000 women how to code. That is since the start of 2021. Can I just carry it around in my pocket? So like when I'm having an awkward moment outside, you can have those types of reactions. That'd be fantastic. So 150,000. It is our mission over the next 5 years to teach 1 million. We've already emerged with this figure, by the way, as one of the largest. In fact, I think we are the largest community of women coders in the world now. We're British export. We're in several different countries. What will 1 million learning opportunities equate to? So with the amount of women that we are getting into employment off the back of the programme, it will equate to well over £1 billion worth in economic opportunity in women joining the global tech economy. All right, Anna, what type of women are you targeting through the programme? Why are you doing it? So 46%, don't worry, I'm going to do this for you because I know this is half cut off, are either uni students or fresh graduates. Around about 41% career switchers. The idea behind Code First Girls is everything is absolutely free to the woman. All of their education, and we also get them into jobs as well. We don't take anything from that. All of the fees are pushed onto the company. What that means when you lower barriers to entry is you're far more likely to get underrepresented ethnicities involved in the programme. 57%, 55% with the first generation to attend university. So social mobility is really, really high as well. Because it's my belief that if you judge talent and if you give talent to companies on the basis of who is actually the best at what they do, rather than who has the largest bank balance, the chances are they're going to get a far, far better, more diverse candidate. So let me jump to university students for a second. And I want to talk about STEM, because I get asked all the time and I get challenged about STEM all the time. Can anybody hazard a guess for me if I were to say to them, off the back of the programme, what do you think the difference in attainment is between STEM and non-STEM students for a coding-based role? Who's gonna go? Who's gonna be brave? Yes, chap in the glasses. I feel like you're gonna go for this. 0. Anybody else? It's like he read my notes. Yeah, 0. It's exactly the same attainment as to whether they've got a STEM degree or whether they haven't got a STEM degree. Now, for me, that's really, really telling, not least of which because I have believed for a long time that we live in a society where things that are actually holding women back are around the labelling of what you've studied. My niece is like 11, 12 years old. She comes home from school and she's already saying to me, I'm just not a girl in STEM. And I'm like, how the hell do you know this? You should not be thinking about this right now. You should be enjoying yourself. that in and of itself, that labeling, girls tend to be, in my view, greater perfectionists, particularly at school. And if they're not ticking every single box, guess what? They just completely drop out. Okay? Somebody is telling my 11-year-old niece she is not a girl in STEM. And I look at our attainment figures, and there's absolutely no difference. It happened to me when I left university as well. So I studied English literature and history at Edinburgh. I know what you're thinking, completely, thank you very much. I really wanted to go into business. I applied for like 100 graduate roles. I should say I graduated at the height of the recession, sort of 2009. I applied for 100 graduate roles. How many interviews do you think I got with the first from Edinburgh? 2. I got 2. And they're for women's companies. Here's L'Oreal. Don't know if that really is what I wanted to do. And the feedback consistently was, you're being rejected because you didn't study a business degree. Don't know if anybody knows much about Edinburgh. They don't actually do business degrees at undergrad. It's a classic university. Nobody ever told me this. So what I noticed at the time, and it really did start to kick in, these post-1992 university degrees that were specific in things like business were actually being placed ahead of any sort of degree I did. But again, it's the labeling and it's the channeling of individuals. Instead of seeing someone, hang on, she could be really good at business, and guess what? She loves Hamlet. It's a plus, right? Apparently not. Apparently not. Now, I think this is a big mistake in our society, because I think if I'm really good at business and I'm really good at something like Hamlet, you have a far more balanced and talented candidate on your hands. All right, so that's universities. I've done my piece on that. Career switches. Okay, now career switches are super, super interesting, because for a long time, they've actually been excluded from definitions of early talent. Normally, when we think about early talent within an organization, they're like, okay, you've got apprentices, you've got graduates, you've got interns. Now, all of a sudden, everyone's like, yeah, career switcher programs. Why is that? Career switchers come with a plethora of pre-existing skills. They might want to return to the workplace. Can anybody tell me what they think the top 5 career switching professions at Code First Girls are? This is quick fire, by the way. Yes? And teachers? Geography? Just geography. Yeah, I know what you're thinking, and I'm there with you, but the answer is no. Huh? No? Not quite. So. No, if they did, I'd be totally fist pumping. Huh? Nurses. Accountancy. Teachers. Retail. What do all of these professions have in common?
Low income and primarily women.
What else? I mean, I don't know if the lawyers are on low income. It depends. Maybe criminal. Female, yeah, I know that story as well. Female-dominated. Inflexible. Anything else? Well, yeah. I love the way you've connected the points. You get 2 billion points. Burnout. It's a taxi for one. It's burnout. These women are completely burnt out. They have inflexible ways of working. They are undervalued. They are absolutely ripe for conversion into technology, where you get absolute flexibility. You get paid far more than you would in most professions as a starting salary. And quite frankly, you're going to own the world within a couple of years. Okay, all right. Wonderful, I've got like a minute left. You know, they told me it wasn't commercially viable. So Code First Girls has 130 annual subscribers. This just gives you an idea of the types of companies that subscribe to us. And essentially what their subscription enables is they can fill the hardest roles to fill. So they could say, like, Anna, I need 30 women in a given year. I need 5 data scientists, 5 back-end engineers, 5 product managers, 5 women in AI and ML. It's entirely up to them. And by the way, I need them in Warsaw, I need them in Birmingham, and I need them in San Francisco, right? So we said that's absolutely fine. You can have those top 30 women. But what we're going to do is we're going to take your money and we're going to reinvest it into 10 times as many women in the local community to make sure we surface the top 10% who are going to match best to you and go on and take your roles. And guess what? It just scales and scales and scales. Because we recognize that education is the way forward. And we recognize if we do that, we will find amazing matches. In terms of like ROI, because I know ROI was also in the title, so I will address that before I've got 9 seconds left. I know there's a big talk about national security later today. We work really closely with the National Security Services, so we work really closely with GCHQ, Cabinet Office, COBRA. I won that contract during COVID. We weren't really long into our model. And I was really shocked because I had 3 staff at that point. Don't worry, we have a lot more now. Had 3 staff. GCHQ comes to me and they say, Anna, you've won. You've won this contract. And I'm thinking, oh my God, what do I do? And then it gets really crazy because they're like, were we going to come in and fit the firewall? And I'm like, what firewall? It's in COVID and I live in a 1-bedroom flat in Ealing. We'll put the firewall there, right, just to be extra secure. And I wasn't able to talk about the GCHQ contract for a very, very long time, and that frustrated me. Couldn't speak about it, right? Just top secret behavior. We communicated by numbers. On Zoom, it's just a black screen. It's very serious. And then all of a sudden, GCHQ came out and they went, Anna, we're going to the press about the return on investment from this partnership. And I was thinking, all my dreams have come at once. We're actually going to speak about it. And when they went out to press, when they were asked about return on investment, they said, using Code First Girls and getting Code First Girls into our cyber offensive and defensive forces has reduced the external threats to this country. Because diversity of thought makes our systems and the products we are making less predictable and therefore harder to hack. Now, in terms of return on investment, I could not think of a more important statement. I could give you 100 more examples for each of these companies, but I thought I wanted to just end on that. Thank you very much for letting me go over.